Oh,
That's for you.
I appreciate that.
And then
Oh,
we'll get
here we
you
go.
A pour of coffee.
Yeah, here we go. Hey, some AMSMR. You ready?
Oh. Oh.
You're better at this one than we are. There you go.
Is that the new intro?
That's the intro right there. What's up, guys? Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Dirt Drive Podcast. Tom's all tangled up. We're back out here at Expo. Our Expo trip is brought to you by Gearhead Coffee. Thank you, Gearhead Coffee, for helping us get out here and giving us some delicious coffee to drink and some swag to give to our guests. So that's your coffee cup.
Appreciate that.
We can
Thank
keep
you.
it here because I know you're busy all day, and you come back
Oh,
and
no,
grab it later.
I'll run it back to the office,
All
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's your coffee cup.
And shout out to Brew Trek.
Yeah,
We've got some of those at home.
I literally just bought this yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Because I had an issue with I've got the Stanley one somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's just such a pain in the ass to clean.
Right. No.
Just unscrew the bottom of it. I tapped it on the fence. This
Yep.
is our second or third pot of coffee we made
Yeah.
today. Cleans
Great.
so easy.
I told some people we use those. Like my wife and I are major coffee drinkers, and if we're like heading out for a trip, we'll like have our cup at the house in the morning, in a to-go mug. We'll put coffee in that and make it, and then we've got a Blue Ridge Overland Gear like water bottle pouch because obviously that won't go in any cup holders.
Yeah.
Put it in the back of the seat. You get down the road an hour, and it's like, all right, it's time for second cup, and it is as hot as when you put it in there.
Yeah, we made I made this at 8:15.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it seems a little early.
This trip's getting expensive.
I know. Sounds like I go by the you guys don't have a booth here, but get some Blue Ridge Overland Gear and
Yeah.
for my brew tech.
I might
Yeah.
I might buy the small one.
It just doesn't clean as well.
It doesn't clean as
It's your
well.
money.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking from like a daily use kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, our friends at Apex, they're one of our biggest retailers, and they've got a bunch of our stuff. They
Nice.
swung by
Okay.
and loaded up their trailer, and they're inventoried up. So
Nice.
yeah. If this goes live in like the next 16 minutes, be sure you stop by the Apex Overland booth.
We do not have the logistics to do
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that.
I do. It's just a lot of work.
Not from here. I can't even check the security cameras at the shop.
Fair. That's a good point. I need to get a Starlink.
Yeah. There.
Honey, I'm buying a Starlink to go camping.
Yeah.
I know I just bought a Garmin InReach, which cost a fuck ton of money, but let me get a Starlink too.
You can't put a price on safety.
You
Tim.
cannot put a price on
Hey,
safety.
I mean, the
That's what I told
Starlink
her.
is for business, so
Yeah.
it's a write-off.
Oh, yeah, it's right. That's a podcast expense.
It is.
Yeah.
It just has to go on one of our personal Starlink accounts.
I'm about it.
Yeah.
Then the whole Starlink account is business because I upload from my house.
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
point.
problem solved.
Yeah.
What are you up to today? What have you been up to? It's been a year since we talked to you.
Yeah,
I keep
no.
up with you on Instagram a little bit, but
Yeah.
you're a busy man.
Yeah, no, it's I feel like I blinked and it
For real.
wasn't May anymore. Yeah, it's been a busy
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a spring through summer. So we went with some friends to Norway right before Mountain West.
Awesome.
And we didn't do any like actual overlanding, but we did do a crap ton of road tripping over there. We did just under 1,000 miles in 11 days, kind of like a loop in the southern part of the country. We did get to check out some sweet overland rigs. We stopped at Arctic Trucks, which
nice. Okay.
if nobody knows who they are, they're a huge brand in like Sweden, Norway, and Iceland.
Yeah.
And when you see like the glacier trucks in Iceland, like that's them.
Yep.
And
The
so like
giant tires
like
with
40
a huge footprint.
yeah,
Yeah.
40 balloons,
Yeah.
and they're running them at like no PSI, but they had a lot of really cool stuff. And then kind of got into Expo season. So we had West and then PNW and then Mountain West. And then after Mountain West, I took the Overland Expo Ultimate Build, the GMC Canyon, the AT4X out. Did a pretty fun, like 300-mile trip for a couple days after that. And
Was that because you do press too? So were you writing for that?
Yeah. So that was like
Okay.
our like internal press essentially, because that truck goes out to a bunch of other like TFLs had it, and trying to think who Matador Travel, but we try to do like some of our own stories because our staff deals with that truck for
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
feel like I've known that truck since this time last year.
Yeah.
But I finally got in the seat after Colorado, the event out there.
Nice.
And that was really fun. We did a really sweet trip just north of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Nice.
Buddy and I did. And now kind of like back here, an hour from the door.
Yeah.
From the house.
Did you go home last night?
No, I actually camped here last night.
Oh, nice,
So
okay.
yeah, I may go home tonight.
An hour would be you'd find a hard way not to get me to go home. For
Yeah,
an hour.
no.
Yeah.
It's my daily commute to work is an hour. I'm like,
Yeah.
I would go home to sleep in my bed.
Yeah, no, I probably will tonight. My wife's actually driving up right now to walk the event, but
Okay.
no, camped with one of our web development guys is over there. He actually just brought in like in a Pelican case, like a backpacking tent and stuff, and so he pulled his rental car up next to my truck and we threw the awning out. Yeah,
Nice.
That's actually
Yeah.
that's a really good idea.
The
if
Sea to
you're-
Summit backpack, not that they're a sponsor,
Well,
but
yeah.
the Sea to Summit backpack tent that they have over there folds up real tight, really nice.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like a 2+ person, so like you
Yeah.
know if you're just by yourself, it's pretty luxurious. Yeah.
And yeah, if you find yourself,
Oh, this dog's gonna pee on my tent again.
yeah, it's exactly what happened last night, twice.
Dog walked up right through here and peed on the
Yeah.
corner of my
Just
tent.
exactly like this too.
I think you're confused. I think it's technically his tent now. You're just borrowing it.
But yeah, the Sea to Summit backpack tent that's really the only small tent. I mean, everything else mounts to a roof
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's really the only small tent that I saw over
Yeah.
there.
I like the idea of the like if you fly it and travel, like
Yeah.
just put everything in a Pelican case and fly it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That might be a good way for us to go to Hammers.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got I use Nanook cases.
Yeah.
Like,
Same
you know,
idea.
Yeah, same thing. Canadian Pelicans, I tell people.
A little more affordable, I assume.
And I like the latches better, actually.
Yeah.
They're just as secure and a little more like user friendly, I think.
Okay.
But
At least she's off camera this
yeah.
time.
I
I thought the dog was gonna take a shit. I'm
yeah,
like,
no, I was like,
Jesus
it's so much better than you think it is. Yeah.
Christ. You're fine.
But
You owe me. She peed on my tent last night, so you owe me a tent. So she peed on my tent last night, so you owe me a tent.
It was very impressive. You
It
should have
was.
seen it.
Sorry.
it was like the floor routine at the
Squirrel.
Olympics. Yeah. But yeah, no, I've got like one of the, I don't remember the size, but it's like the biggest one you can check. It's like oversized luggage. And I've done that for some trips where I'm like flying out to review a truck and
Yeah.
like it has like all the overlanding stuff on it, but like I still need a sleeping bag and
Yeah.
clothes and,
Yep.
you know.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, take a jet boil and yeah, you know, just check it. And I mean, those cases, short of them dropping out of the plane, your gear's
Yeah.
gonna be fine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Even the Harbor Freight one we use for all this
Yeah.
gear does pretty
As
well.
well.
Oh,
The
yeah.
foam, the foam's fallen apart over the last 2 years, but
Yeah.
I just need to nut up and buy a new Harbor Freight case.
Yeah. No, I've got some of those I use for storage, just around
Yeah.
the house for stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I found is you got to lock those. I actually
Yeah.
checked them one time and got off the plane, and the little cable locks was the only thing keeping it closed. I guess
Yeah.
it had compressed enough that like the latches, you know, lost tension, and
Another Sasquatch sighting.
boom, you know, it was like, oh, that would
Yeah.
have sucked. Like all my stuff been yard sold.
Yeah, I can't
in
remember.
the back of a plane that would have been,
Who
and they
drive-
would have just been like,
So,
sorry.
yeah, no.
Levi Shirley drives the Red Dragon Ultra 4.
Yeah.
He had a Harbor Freight one
Case
on the back of
open.
his car,
Oh.
and just bouncing it, racing in King of the Hammers, it
Oh.
opened and he lost all of his shit.
Yeah, no.
I
So-
can see.
No, it's definitely worth locking those if you go that route. But the Nanook, they're on sales all the time. Like I've
Yeah.
never bought one full price. I've got a carry-on size, and I've got like the big
Yeah.
like it looks like a cooler.
Okay.
And yeah, I've never paid full price for them, and just get on their email and just wait for a sell. So
Good to know. To look into those.
yeah.
So would you go back to Norway to explore again?
Oh yeah, for sure. So 11 days, like
Jesus, that's so fucking cool.
was enough to give us like the bottom. So we flew into Oslo, and we're in Oslo 10 minutes. We rented a Toyota Pro Ace. So it's just a big like flat floor van,
Yeah.
and,
Oh, okay.
and just hammered that thing. Actually, we didn't hammer it because the speed limits are incredibly slow over there. But just like put the miles down and immediately like drove up the mountains. You know, like
Yeah.
feet of snow off the side of the road, and then we went down and kind of like went around the southern coast. But Norway's kind of like trying to think what it's shaped like. It's very like long on the west
Yeah.
coast,
It's a good
and
giant
there-
chicken tender.
yeah, and there's only one road, and so like we just didn't have any time
Wow.
to like one major road that goes up that way. So
That's
So when you're, because I did Prague, I did a bunch of hiking in Prague this year.
oh yeah.
So when you're planning a trip like that, what service how do you plan a trip like that?
So
You just Google Maps in it as you're going, like this is where we're going.
so actually, I've got a buddy that lives just outside of Oslo, and
That's helpful.
shout out to Benjamin, and he sent me like a saved like a Google map with like 40 interest points.
That's awesome.
And he kind of knew like where we wanted to go, and he was like, you know, draw me a circle, and then like sent me all the cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, we saw one of the stave churches, which has been there since like the 1100s.
Yeah.
You know, is
Crazy.
It's
yeah.
so wild about that part of the world.
How
is.
old? Yeah.
Yeah. No,
We saw a church from the hundreds, like 600.
Yeah.
I'm like, things are that old?
Yeah.
right. No, you know, because here in Virginia, you know, like got a friend who's got a house on his property from like 1760.
Yeah.
Right.
And still like livable. He lived in it for a while actually, and then you know you get out to like the West Coast, and that's super old.
It was built
Right,
yesterday. It's
yeah,
super old.
80s.
Yeah.
I had that experience when I was in Colorado, like Western Colorado, exploring all the old uranium mines.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, like people are like, yeah, this thing was abandoned like in the 80s, and I'm like, you mean like 30 years ago, 80s, like
Yeah,
or the
1880s.
or the 1880s?
Right. yeah.
I'm like, I there's a house in my hometown that like George Washington slept in like 1770
Exactly.
something. Like,
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, really? That like this mine is old, and I'm like, it's not. I have cars older than this mine.
Yeah. And then you get over, in Europe, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's
3
only,
BC. It's 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I found for planning trips that surprisingly Gaia has everything mapped.
Oh, nice.
The maps of the whole world. So
that makes sense.
I mapped from Prague to the hiking areas, Bohemian Swiss National Forest.
Yeah.
And we no cell service, but I saved everything. It was unbelievably easy.
So we looked out. A couple people on the trip. I think I was the only one that had AT&T, and I looked this up, and then was like, "We'll see if it works." We landed. I turned my phone on, and it was like,
Just fired right up.
"Do you want to do $10 a day for unlimited data?" Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was it. And it was kind of cool. They actually they won't charge you more than $100 per bill. So since we were there 11 days, I paid $100 on one and then $10 extra
That's
on the
nice.
next
Yeah.
bill. Yeah, I was like,
that's kind of nice.
We did that. We got screwed with that, and my
no.
phone bill was $300 for 2 months straight.
oh geez,
Because
man.
she would turn her phone on just the entire time because it's my wife and I'm not going to fight with her about leaving her phone on.
yeah,
And then like when she couldn't figure out how to do it on her phone and she wouldn't get service, I'd have to turn my phone on. It's an extra like $6 a day.
Yeah.
So it was like $12 plus the $6 for
Yeah.
almost every day.
yeah,
But it was nice because we did have service.
Yeah.
I was planning when I planned the driving route and the hiking routes, I was planning on not having service, like just doing it
everything
completely off
offline.
grid.
Yeah.
But then turns out we could get
Yeah.
service.
No, we booked. We had like 3 or 4 nights in the middle of the trip booked, but we didn't even have like the beginning and end of the trip booked. So we'd be like driving and
That's
be
the way
like,
to do it.
"When do you guys want to stop?" All
Yeah.
right, in 2 hours. Okay, what's in 2 hours? And I use Booking.com a ton.
Yeah.
And we stayed in like an apartment in like a ski town one night. Stayed in a couple of Scandic hotels. Like if anybody's ever in like the Scandinavian countries, I think they're a chain that's in kind of that region.
Oh,
They
okay.
were super nice. We stayed in like I think 3 of them over the course of 11 days. But no, and just beautiful. And then also like I love seafood, and that's the best seafood I've had in my life.
Yeah.
I wish I could get my wife to travel like that. She's an event planner for a living, so she has to know what everything that's going on down to the T. She's like, "We're going to this restaurant." I'm like, "We're leaving in 3 months." She's like, "Yeah, this night we're going to this restaurant." I'm like, "Oh goddamn."
See, I used to do event planning, and it affected me in a very different way. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
man,
I don't want to do that
I got
anymore.
a passport and a plane ticket.
Yeah.
We'll figure it
Just
out.
fucking
Like,
ball out.
yeah, no. It would literally be like we get to the hotel, which we had probably booked earlier that day, and be
Yeah.
like, "All right, what's in walking distance?"
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's
how
such
I like
a cool way
go.
to travel.
Yeah.
But no, it was kind of cool. We saw a lot of nice trucks. Some observations about Norway. There were like no Land Rovers, which surprised me. I think I saw outside of like a couple of like really new ones in like Oslo and maybe like Bergen, one of the other big towns. I saw like one older one. They have all the Volkswagen Amaroks are there, so
Okay.
those are pretty sick. And then I will say, like, the GX 470s have got really popular, like the Overland world.
Yeah.
But the Prado trim over there, it's like they're handing them out. They're
Yeah.
everywhere. And like actually, my buddy Benjamin has one. He was like, "Oh, I mean, it's like a farmer's SUV.
Yeah.
There's literally farmers that like tear the back seats out of them and just use them as like essentially a truck with a cap. So yeah.
And they're coveted over here.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And,
Yeah, there are museums here. They don't even get driven.
it was just like all kinds of stuff like that. And then I obviously love trucks, but I like other car stuff
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Got to see more Polestars I've ever seen in my life. I always
yeah,
thought
pretty
makes
cool.
sense.
yeah. And Polestars are like, I think like from a design standpoint, one of
Yeah.
the best looking cars. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's Volvo, so they're good cars too.
Yeah.
'cause
Right.
Volvo doesn't sell a bad car.
yeah.
I try not to. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were everywhere, and it was like every time I saw one, it's like, holy crap! Just,
Yeah, I
you
like
just
them.
ship one of those back for me.
Yeah.
I like them, but not for like the 80 grand that they are for a
crazy.
sedan.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but they are very nice up close. But yeah, no, that was it, and ate some reindeer sausage. and
Nice.
didn't see any moose, even though there was a sign every 10 feet on the road. It was just like moose warning, moose warning, moose warning. And after like day 6, it was like, I think they're just screwing with us.
They don't exist. It's a Sasquatch.
Yeah, yeah, no,
It's
like,
just
yeah.
an excuse to make you drive slow.
Yeah, no, which I don't think we got over 65 the entire time we were in the country. Yeah.
That might be hard for me.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. We just kept expecting for tickets to show up in the mail because it's all like done that way.
Oh, it's all speed camera stuff?
Yeah, yeah. And it's not like hours. Like, you go by the camera, oh, you were going too fast. They have a camera at like mile marker, we'll call it like 1, and a speed camera at like mile marker like 10.
Or if you got there too quickly.
And they do the average.
Oh.
Wild.
Yeah. And they have them in tunnels because there's a crap ton of tunnels there. I mean, like there was like, we went through one, it was like a 6-mile tunnel. No, 12-mile because it was yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, it was a 12-mile tunnel, and I was trying to do the math with kilometers. Yeah, and they were in there, like, yeah. So,
all right, so my wife has to
The
drive.
tunnels
if I ever
were
go to
weird. So when
Norway.
we were driving in the Czech Republic, the tunnel was like, it slowed you down to like 55 kilometers an hour in the tunnel. So from like 120 kilometers an hour to 55 in the tunnel. I'm like, this makes sense. That's how you don't crash.
yeah.
Is slow down in the tunnels.
yeah.
And I'm like, then we went to the Outer Banks a few weeks after that trip. And I'm like, I slowed down the tunnel. Everyone's honking behind me. I'm like, no, I feel like I'm being safe now.
Yeah, no,
God.
Tom's cussing at me.
Oh, no, so
you
we
speed up in the tunnel. There's no speed traps in the
Speed
tunnel.
up and put the windows down.
Yeah.
we flew out of Raleigh, so like we got back to the airport and like got on the interstate, and I felt like I've been shot out of a rocket because I hadn't been faster than 45 miles an hour for 2 weeks. It's like,
And you're still getting passed.
yeah.
You're doing 60, feeling like you're doing 100, and everybody else is actually doing 100.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm up to. Overland stuff. Been trying to get back up into West Virginia more. Like I've always liked going up there, and I've like now that I've lived, way closer. I used to be 7 hours.
Yeah.
And now I'm just a couple. And so I was up there a few weeks ago. I'm actually going back up there Thursday. Some buddies from
Nice.
Tennessee are coming up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
For a 100-mile overland trip with my in-laws.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be next weekend. We're doing our anniversary trip to like. There's a Stonewall Resort at Stonewall Park.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if we can convince the wife to take the Kia out, run a couple trails. Jed sent me some trails. So.
Some soft roading.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we were up there like Seneca Rocks, Spruce Knob, Canyon Loop. We did a lot last time, but this time we're mostly going to fish. So we're gonna be up on Canyon Loop and fishing some water around there. It's wild because when I was up there, like at one point recently, like 100% of the state of West Virginia was under severe drought warning.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, all this terrible storms that have come through affected a lot of people, but it was a benefit for them because like it went from like 8% stream flow to 80% stream flow in a week. Because they said that they were having like all farms, anything like that, like hay cuts, it was just not happening because they hadn't had any rain in essentially all summer. So.
Yeah. I live right on the Shenandoah, and it was the exact same way. There's farms up and down the river that I live on, and they got 2 cuts this year. Usually getting.
My neighbor only did 1.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like it went from like there's no water to there's all the water. Just fortunately for them, they didn't have like quite the flooding as like everybody down south.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys go cast fishing, fly fishing?
Mostly fly fishing. Yeah,
that's my. I keep talking about that. I'm like, I want to I have the overlanding stuff now. I've got the setup.
Yeah.
But just going to drive every now and drive for 3 days straight gets old. I want to drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Go fishing for a day, maybe bow hunting or something.
Yeah.
Or use the vehicle, but get out of the vehicle too.
Yeah. No, speaking of bow hunting, I don't know about you guys. Virginia's like super technical, but ours starts in about 12 hours.
Yeah.
Our 15 hours our bow season. But I was telling my buddy here yesterday, he's like, dude, I'm setting it out the first couple weeks. Like, I'm not into it when it's 80 degrees. You know.
Yeah, that's why I said I was joking last night. I was like, man, they should really move this event into like October. It's like 80 degrees this weekend.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I'm an early riser. Man, I got up, it was like 53 when I let the dogs out one morning. And then like yesterday morning when I left the house, it was 68. It was like it was 72 hours before the sun came up. So,
yeah, I've got a buddy that bow hunts in my front yard, and I've let half of my front yard grow up because I just don't want to mow it anymore.
Yeah.
And we've had some big bucks, and every morning I keep sending him pictures. I'm like, hey, look what's in the yard.
Yeah.
He's like, stop sending me. I'll be out there in a few days. It's Alex.
Yeah.
He just comes. He lives a mile down the road. He doesn't have as much wooded property as I do, and he just comes and sits by the creek, or I guess he'll sit in my front yard on my porch.
Yeah. No, I've got cameras and literally woke up this morning in my tent, rolled over, checked the cameras. But my problem is, man, all my big boys, they're nocturnal.
Yeah.
It's like 11 to 1 is when they pop on the cameras. They're not dumb, you know.
Yeah.
If you want to get
That's how they got big.
Yeah, if you want to get big, you got to be smart.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, our property backs up to a 300-acre nature preserve.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So and
they're living and eating well.
Yeah. And this year, last year, we got a lot of oaks. The acorns were terrible, and so we had like no turkey, and the deer definitely didn't seem like they were nearly as like heavy, and both in weight and in like how much we saw them.
Yeah.
This year the acorns are like nuts. They're already dropping like crazy.
The acorns are nuts. Hey.
Not intended. I'm that corny naturally. So,
Hey.
Yeah.
Two for two.
But yeah, no. What have you guys been up to?
We did
Moab.
We did
in
Moab
May.
this
Oh,
year.
nice.
That was wonderful. That was such a cool
we,
trip.
We hot-shotted it across the country. It took us 40 hours. We did
Without stopping.
Yeah.
It was just this guy's idea.
Dude, I did that several years ago with a buddy in a first-gen Tacoma.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think I may have like permanent hip damage.
I think I would have
Yeah.
rather been in a first-gen Tacoma.
I have
than
permanent. I think I
four
have
rock
permanent
crawlers.
hearing damage because I did it in the shop JK with him.
Oh.
And there's no carpet, so it was just loud.
You gotta get like chopper headsets.
Yeah, I just thought about it. It's
The guys in the we had an LJ come with us.
Yeah.
My buddy PJ
a
and Trevor.
half-door LJ for 40 hours.
And a soft top. And they had earmuffs on the
Yeah.
entire time.
They didn't talk to each other for 40 hours. They just listened to
Sounds
music.
wonderful. I had to talk to you and AK for
Yeah.
40 hours.
Just, dude, down the road.
Yeah. Well, and that poor thing was like it was 3 JKs all on 35. So I'm like, cool, we're all gonna be on the same fuel schedule. We'll have no issue. I didn't account for the LJ on the
Being
fuel
a
schedule.
4-liter and a piece of
So-
shit.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
very
yeah.
nice LJ, but it's a piece of shit 4-liter.
Yeah, and it's all the 3 JKs all filled up at half a tank when the LJ needed a full tank.
Yeah.
So we added basically double the fuel stops, which added time. It's hurting cats. You know. Every gas station, our buddy would go in and buy snacks, and we're like, "Okay, it's supposed to be a quick turnaround.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just stay
In and out,
in the
in and
Jeep."
out.
He's like, "But I was hungry." I'm like, "So then buy a lot of snacks at one gas station."
Yeah.
You have so every gas stop was 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
we couldn't do more than 65 miles an hour, which when you get to Kansas really sucks.
Oh yeah, no man. Yeah. And when you get to West Kansas, also known as Eastern Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also did the 24 Hours of Appalachia in February.
Oh, yeah.
Oh sweet.
That was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That was a really cool event.
Oh nice. Yeah.
We did that in the two-door.
Yeah, in the two-door.
I'm
Pretty much bone
think.
stock.
Yeah.
I had some buddies from like kind of central Georgia come up, and I think they may have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. There's a truck out. The truck toppers.
Yeah.
He was that truck was there.
Oh, cool.
We ran with him for probably 75 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We let them pass because there was a group of Toyotas coming up, and I guess they do the Red Clay Rally stuff.
Yeah.
And we let them pass, and we just like, all right, we'll keep pace. And they were trying. I feel like they were trying to shake us. And we're like, this little two-door is rocking.
Yeah.
It was fun as shit.
Yeah.
It was really fun. If you get the opportunity to do that, it's
Yeah, no.
brutal, but it's a ton of fun.
No, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm not super into like the big organized stuff, but
Yeah.
that's cool. It's got a unique flavor.
Yeah, this and that were the 2 events that I did this year.
Yeah.
No, nice. Yeah.
And it'll probably be the same thing every year.
Yeah.
It's like
The thing
just-
I liked about, and I don't know, because like we did the first one in February that they ever did. It didn't feel like a big organized event. It just seemed
Yeah.
like you and 75 buddies doing a trail ride.
Right. Yeah.
sounds like a huge event. It's just 75 buddies bopping around.
Yeah,
the
but it
forest.
wasn't like. I mean, they've definitely gotten more official with like the door stickers and
Yeah.
everything else, but it wasn't. It didn't have that feel.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's a waiver you sign and you get, you can buy a T-shirt, but
It's not around anymore in its original state, but that's how Vermont Overland used to be. The
Okay.
Vermont Overland Rally. People would be like, "Oh, is it like this?" I'm like, "No." I mean, like in the fact that there's trucks, but Peter Voller had it on his property. There were
Okay.
probably, I don't know, 70, 80. No, probably not even that many. 60 trucks maybe. And then like during the day, like everybody would come in on like Thursday night, and then on Friday morning, everybody goes because that's Peter's thing. He handed you a map, and it had like 200 miles of trail, color coded by difficulty, and he kind of had like some local guys that would be like, "All right, if you don't want to go by yourself, I'm going to lead, a blue," and it would be 55 of those trucks left for the day. Very
That's
few people
awesome.
hung out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then do it again on Saturday, and then everybody comes back at the evenings and hangs
Yep.
out, and then on Sunday everybody just left, and it was just like more or less he just offered up his property for camping in a hub,
Yeah,
So yeah,
And then he provided the maps, which is pretty cool.
yeah,
Like,
no.
all paper maps, I assume.
yeah,
That's so sweet.
yeah, and then
I'm trying to my buddy that does the 24 Hours of Appalachia. I'm trying to convince him to do like a 12 hours, instead of 24 hours straight.
Yeah, yeah.
12 hours and 12 hours, but do like a stage
map,
and paper
yeah.
maps.
Oh, that would be cool.
'Cause
Yeah.
nobody would know how to do that. I'd be so screwed with a paper map.
Yeah.
It'd be a big learning curve.
At Blue Ridge, we just recorded a podcast. I think maybe it was our last episode of the release that was talking about like our forms of navigation. And I'm a big OnX guy. I've been using OnX for years, and but I still carry gazetteers for like the 4 states that I hit.
Okay.
And then I've got like a couple Purple Lizard stuff like that for like areas that are more specific. Because the one thing is I just use my phone. So like if I'm out fishing, I drop my phone in the creek. Like what do? So I want to have some sort of backup. And they just live underneath the seat in the ZR2.
That's actually a really good idea.
So,
Yeah. More dogs.
yeah.
Yep. Oh, it's
Is that Raven?
Raven. Yeah, she's a thick girl.
Yeah, so if you can't catch her on camera, as somebody that has a bully breed, if you think we turned on a white noise machine, it's just Raven.
Yeah.
She's idling.
It's gonna pull it all.
Oh, you're okay. I just want you to dump hot coffee on yourself.
Catching your headphones.
But yeah, I agree. The big events get overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like this is a lot. I had to put earplugs in last night just because, I mean, that's a camp with 1,000 of our favorite friends.
Yeah, no.
But
yeah.
like, the reason I do this is to get out of the trash, dog.
A little trash diver.
Just
over
to
there.
like just chill and get out in the woods and be quiet for a day. And
No, and I mean that's
that's what we're doing in 2 weeks when we do the West Virginia trip. Is I chose dark sky, dark radio locations.
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
Yeah.
And my wife made me buy a Garmin InReach because she's like, I'm not gonna say it yet,
Yeah.
but she's like, we need to have a way to get help if we need help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I'll get the InReach and we'll do that. But
I had a trip in Kentucky on the Kentucky Adventure Trails a couple years ago where I have to leave much more detailed plans than I used to.
Yeah.
We were only unreachable for like 18 hours. It was fine.
Only.
Yeah. So it was funny. It's actually the same guys that were on that trip coming up, and my wife's like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah.
It's not that when we get together, there's a high likelihood of things going wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that it has. And I was like,
it just
first
has in the
off,
past and regularly.
I was like, it's Canaan Loop. If you say those words to like any of our friends here, they'll know, like, they know where to go find us. And then it was funny.
That's 2 hours from us. So if you need anything, you've got my number.
Yeah. And then my other buddy that was on that trip was like, "What's the name of the national forest we're going? What road are we on?" It's like, "You leaving your wife notes?" Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Managa.
Yeah. I told him,
Monongahela.
The Mongalia.
I had the spelling, and I was like, 100% Google that. It's misspelled. Like, Yeah.
The back to the like you and your buddies always getting in trouble. Like I think we've gotten ourselves to a point where we've gotten into enough dumb shit, but also proven
Survived.
ourselves to get out.
Yeah,
That
so-
my wife just goes, just let me know when you're gonna be home.
The nice thing is with the rock crawling, when we were static camping and then just doing
Right. Yeah.
just rock crawling. My wife would come with us so she'd witness it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, you guys are idiots, but I know you guys are
Yeah.
safe idiots."
We
so
got
she
in
knows
trouble
what to expect.
trying to help people is actually what happened. So we
Yeah.
had fished
Dude,
all
all the
day.
time.
Yeah.
Like we fished like 10 hours that day on the off the Kentucky Adventure Trail.
Nice
wonderful.
calm day.
Go up in this trout, Spas Creek. It's like SPAAS or something like that. We're in camp, and it's starting to rain. And it was like a Bravada and an old Ford Ranger go by us at like 10 o'clock at night. And
Just fucking on the clip.
yeah, no. And an hour and a half later, we had the awning out, and this kid just like walks out of the woods like, "Hey, can you help us?" Was like, "I already did because I didn't shoot you. First off, don't do that." Like,
Yeah.
Call yourself out.
Yeah, and dude,
Use a flashlight.
they got up
Yeah.
in a play area and just got both those trucks bogged. Well, it had been raining, and it was so slick that when I got out of my Tacoma, like I literally on not much of an angle was like sliding.
The truck or you?
Me,
I was
like
gonna say,
my
if it's the
feet.
truck, that's an issue.
Yeah.
And so tried to get them out of these ruts, couldn't. Ended up getting my truck stuck, and finally now it's pouring. Just like, dude, we're walking back to camp. And the next day, we walked out. Oh, a tree fell. Like,
Did they have stuff to camp with, or were they just like
just
out
in
there
their
beating
trucks.
around?
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. So we got walked out, and then had some guys coming in, and they were actually like, "Oh yeah, we're actually out here because it was such a bad storm last night. We figured that people needed help."
Yeah.
And it took 2 Jeeps to pull my Tacoma out, and they had to
Damn.
put one of them. It was so slick, he had to get behind a stump because when he
Yeah.
hit the winch, it just was
pulled
pulling him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's one thing we'll do. We'll either tie off the hitch to a
Yeah.
tree with a tree strap,
Yeah.
or we'll nose in like a lot of the rock our rock crawlers have stingers, so
Yeah.
we'll put the stinger on a tree, like drive into a tree, put the stinger on
Yep.
a tree,
Yeah.
and use that as a brake.
Yeah. But since that trip, we have to be a little more specific. No, it's not just like
Yeah.
we're fishing in Kentucky. Like
Yeah.
that can't
It's a
be,
big state.
that can't be the extent of it anymore. So
I really want to do. We had so much fun on the Moab trip. All the guys we went with want to do another trip, and I'm trying to figure out how we can do like an overlanding route and just hit all the distilleries.
Oh,
basically do like Kentucky Bourbon Trail, but off road.
So, man, I got to tell you, Jeff Stowe, I think is his name, and he does more like dual sport stuff.
Okay.
But the Kentucky Adventure Trail is like his
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
And he does a great job of keeping it updated. Like, it takes you through Red River Gorge, down through like my old neck of the woods. We lived in Tennessee, but near Cumberland Gap. And then, I mean, I think it's like 6 days is what they suggest for 4x4s.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And, I mean, if you wanted to just like do the eastern half, which
Yeah.
is like most of where the good brown water comes from.
Right.
Yeah, like that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Even if
It's a
you
good brown water. It took me a second.
Yeah.
Hell
Between that and the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway, the DBBBB.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the dual sport adventure guys are a great resource.
Yeah,
I've got a
yeah.
buddy that puts together trails in West Virginia, Brian Holmes, and he does a great job. Like
Yeah.
the trip we're taking in 2 weeks, I had a few points of interest. I'm like, hey, what's this water crossing? Is this
Yeah.
like, how would you rate this trail and this, that, and the other? And he's like, oh yeah, he already had it mapped. He's like, here's my map and my notes. I'm like,
Yeah.
awesome. Do you want to
Yeah.
come wheeling with me?
I think for part of it, they're so fast. I did a trip several years ago with some guys on bikes, like and guys in trucks, and it sounds cool, but they're just so much quicker.
Yeah.
That like it's just a hurry up and wait game for them.
Yeah.
But I think that's what allows them to cover so much ground and
Like
like
explore a lot more.
Yeah. They're just
Makes
makes
sense.
It's also cool because they're fast, but they're also so light. These guys don't have a
Oh.
lot of gear with them.
Yeah,
It's all
no.
backpacking.
Yeah, it's all backpacking gear
Yeah.
pretty much. But I think I'm entranced by that. I'm like, that's because I live light in this thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know if I could live lighter than a two-door Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's guys that do it on bikes, and it's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
damn
no, I mean
impressive.
it's like you said, it's essentially backpacking gear split up between two
Right.
panniers and maybe like some sort of duffel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
too
actually
bougie.
the new one that they just released, the Chattahoochee. It's a loop down in Georgia. That one looks really cool. So
way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
yep, which that's the line
An
that
actual
Alan
place.
Jackson
Yeah.
couldn't put in a song now.
No.
The next part of that.
Yeah.
Get our podcast canceled.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You've said way worse things
I've
on the
said way-
podcast.
Yeah, no, trust me. I know that the Spotify doesn't have somebody just listening to everything. That's
No.
for sure.
No, if Joe Rogan can get away with it,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
get away
It's,
with it.
yeah, it's a good point.
But no, you're right. That's a great resource. And like going back to paper maps, some of mine are like the Butler maps, which are very much meant for like moto.
Yeah.
But they're handy because they have like points of interest. It's
Yeah.
like somebody handing you a guide.
Do you ever like cross-reference that paper map to the electronic map or the actual route? Like, are you finding stuff's different or changed?
Every once in a while, I was gonna say like kind of going back to the Kentucky Adventure Trail. That's what I appreciate with Jeff is, man, if like there's a road closed or like a washout or
Yeah.
whatever, he's got that thing updated. That GPX file's updated
Yeah.
like in no
Nice.
time. But yeah, no, definitely kind of supplementary. Yeah.
When you're mapping, do you? Because I cross-reference maps. I've got the basic Onyx subscription. I've got the full Gaia subscription because it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own preferences, but like, I'll start playing them on Gaia and I'll jump back and forth between Onyx, Google Maps, and Gaia.
So honestly, when I'm off road, it's almost all on X.
Okay.
Kind of was talking about this on the Blue Ridge podcast. I'm so invested. Like I've got points everywhere
Yeah.
that I've got people visit me track. So, and stuff like that. And then honestly, the paper maps are like, okay, well, we thought this was a cool road. It's not, or, it looked like a forest road on Onyx. It's not, so now we pull out the gazetteer or whatever. And honestly, for me, in like the planning stage, the paper map is a little more of a bigger picture. And then kind of I figure out where I'm
good to know.
at. Then I'm get into Onyx and like zooming in,
So I liked when I planned out the Moab trips and all the trails in Moab. I actually sat at my computer with Onyx open,
Oh, yeah.
and then like
Being on a desktop makes it so much easier.
I do almost all the planning there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's just all this thing gets is, okay, I've got that area offline,
Yep.
and then all my points and tracks and all that stuff,
Yep.
So,
Yeah, be able to pull
Yeah.
it up on Apple CarPlay makes it also really easy.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things about this is like pull it up on Apple CarPlay
And run it
I've
there.
got Spotify going right here, and I've got my Gaia
Yeah.
or my Onyx
Yeah.
map running right here.
I was
sure.
I was getting some crap because I have the iPad mounted
Mm-hmm.
for the weekend. I was just down in Charlotte a couple days ago for doing some hurricane relief stuff, and like traffic around Charlotte is a mess because all the I-40
Yeah,
traffic is getting
everything's-
diverted through Charlotte.
Yeah.
and like the guys I was with, we had to drop off the Penske truck, so we're at the Penske and like we do the drive out there, just looking at bumper to bumper traffic, and they're like, "It's gonna take us so long to get back." And I'm like, "Hold on," and I just opened up Onyx and literally just drew a route around the traffic.
Yeah,
and we were back at Outlaw in
and that's
5
what
minutes.
I like is you can just force it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like snap to route. No,
Yeah.
I don't need any suggestions.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Sweet guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you on a time crunch at all?
So actually, I kind of forgot that my wife drives the Subaru a lot faster than I do. She's like, I'm in line, and I was like, holy crap!
Oh, boy.
Like, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's an hour.
Yeah.
She made it in like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let
But
you
no,
out
I'll
here.
be around,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks.
Yeah, good to see you.
Always appreciate it.
Oh, God, that's on camera.
Yeah. The turkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, thanks for coming out
Yeah, man.
and supporting the event, and having me on and stuff. And as always, you know, we got camping and stuff down this side of the state. So if you're ever down this way, just give us a
hell
shout.
Yeah, we'll actually have to get together. We talked about getting together last year and coming down to see you guys at your shop and seeing what you do, and recording with you guys, and you guys recording a longer one.
No, just let me know for sure. Getting out on the trail is going to be odd, weird, because the parkway's closed, and like all the trails down here kind of like cross it, and if they've gated them at the top.
Really?
Yeah, they just closed it yesterday. Today. The hurricane, but not because of like damage. They pulled all the staff into North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like the Virginia section's closed on the parkway as well, but that's
Wild.
why there's still a few like trails down on this,
Yeah.
up here. Like once you get down closer to like Roanoke, it's almost all right around the parkway.
Well, before you get out of here, tell people where they can find you at.
Yellow Jacket. That's not where they can find me. Yeah, so just Rick Stowe on Instagram. So my personal Blue Ridge Overland gear. I'm running socials there in the shop with Matt and the rest of the crew. And then I'm the editorial director for Overland Expo. So stuff on the site. You know, let us know what you think. This time of year, we kind of start focusing on gear reviews and stuff because we know people are shopping holidays and like amping up for trips.
Yep.
And this is our last event of the year, and then we'll get her fired up in 2025. It's been a good year of events and stuff.
We want to make it out to PNW one year. I was talking to a guy from the Garmin booth. He's like, I'm like, what's your, like, you get to travel cool places. Where do you want to go? He's like, this is my first year doing it. I don't know. It was like up in Oregon. I'm like, oh, PNW. He's like, yeah,
so
it was the best one.
that event is probably my favorite because A, the venue, and then B, like just like you pick a direction and go. You want desert, go east. You want mountains, go west. You want like serious mountains, go north. You know, plus the whole like Pacific Northwest coast. It is really cool.
Yeah.
And then a little teaser. We've nailed down our ultimate build for next year, so it'll be a while before it's announced, but it's going to be really cool. Like,
awesome.
I'm definitely. I was excited about the AT4X.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about.
You guys have done the GMC a couple years in a row now.
Yeah. So we're going a different direction, but the Canyon's been fun, but this one's going to be like next level. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. We'll let you get out of here and go pick up your wife and go get back to work.
But walk the show and get paid. So
it's a good day at work.
Yeah.
All right, man. You guys know where to find us. The Dirt Drive everywhere social, DirtNerds Motors. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Share with your friends. I'm not wearing the shirt, but we have our Kill All Jeep shirts, and then Gearhead Coffee for 15% off. Use code DirtDrive.
No.
Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for supporting our sponsors.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next week.
Do you have a love-hate relationship with your Jeep? Or do you just hate Jeeps? Then you need the Kill All Jeep shirt from Dirt Nerds Off-Road. Represent your resentment for just $25. Pre-order is running October 1st through October 20th. Email tim@dirtnerdsoffroad.com or direct message at The Dirt Drive on Instagram with sizes and quantities. Order today.